The ballroom glittered with money and power, a chorus of champagne toasts and swagger. A boy, cheeks flushed with wine, sent a careless arc across the white carpet and splashed the guest of honor, the billionaire CEO, like a comic calamity. There's a twist in the story that no one knows about. So stay in the story. Laughter erupted, roped in by the familiar safety of wealth and status. Yet one woman stood apart, her smile a threadbare thing, her eyes cool and incisive. She watched the scene with a predator's patience, as if the moment itself were a chessboard and every careless spill a potential opening. The CEO's entourage swaggered on, swallowing the moment and turning it into bravado. The son's giggles faded into alarm, but the woman kept her poise, letting the room forget what she had seen in the glint of a wine-stained glass. Her husband leaned closer, chuckling at the spectacle, but she brushed him off with a calm that felt almost ceremonial. In that stillness, the room exhaled, not in relief, but in a tacit acknowledgement that something far more consequential than a spill was about to unfold. A hush settled as the CEO addressed the crowd with practiced charisma, his voice smooth as lacquer. But the woman's attention remained fixed, not on him, but on the fine print behind the suits and smiles. She noted the glances, the subtle exchanges, the way power flowed through the room like a current just beneath the surface. There was a plan in motion, she realized, and it wasn't hers to reveal aloud. Only hers to recognize and, if necessary, to weaponize with precision. Conversation pivoted from light gossip to calculated risk. A seasoned investor toasted the deal, while another whispered about margins, timelines, and leverage. The couple at the center, husband and wife, exchanged a single, knowing glance. She didn't utter a word, but her mind mapped the layout of the night's vulnerabilities. A misstep here, a misread there, a fracture in trust that could fracture a fortune. As the night progressed, she played the role of the observer, the quieter, sharper force in a room full of louder ambitions. The spilled wine had become a metaphor for chaos contained by wealth, and she was the catalyst needed to flip that chaos into order, or into a different order altogether. Her partner laughed, but she weighed the cost of every laugh, every bannered triumph, every contract celebrated in the same breath as a possible downfall. When a key executive approached with a signature to seal the night, she was already 3 steps ahead. She asked just the right questions, not loud, not accusatory, but precise enough to reveal the fault lines. The CEO's team replied with polished assurances, yet her eyes tracked their body language as if she could read a script no one else could see. The room's tempo shifted imperceptibly from celebration to calculation, and the potential fracture of millions hung in the charged air. Behind the gleaming doors, whispers circulated about a rival bid, a surprise clause, a resignation that would send stock prices spiraling. She absorbed every whisper like a draft of cold water, letting it cool the heat of the moment. She wasn't the loudest voice in the room, but she was the only voice that mattered when it came to assessing risk. The other players moved like puppets, and she knew which strings to pull. Silent, strategic, devastating. The moment arrived when a late-night courier appeared with a sealed envelope, an offer, a counter-offer, a tremor of inevitability. The couple stood together, the man's hand hovering as if to steady the chaos he couldn't see coming. She stepped forward, not to claim glory, but to protect what mattered. A future they hadn't fully earned, but could still secure with ruthless clarity. The room seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the final reveal that would rewrite the night's entire narrative. By the time the first light of dawn touched the skyline, the deal lay broken on the floor like a shattered glass, symbolizing a lost dream. The laughter had faded to echoes, replaced by a stern, almost ceremonial seriousness. The CEO's network frayed as margins slid and reputations bent under pressure. In the aftermath, the couple learned something brutal. Power isn't a shield. It's a weapon that can be turned against you with the perfect, unflinching stroke. They walked out separately into the early morning hush, the city waking with a shrug. The world would call it a disaster, a momentary collapse under the weight of ambition. But for her, it felt like awakening, an opportunity to redefine what they would tolerate, what they would fight for, and what they would never let disappear again. The laughter may return, but so will the eyes that watched, calculated, and decided. In that quiet, They chose a future where prudence and nerve walk hand in hand. Old Key, classical building.